Joining me right now is a member of the Senate Republican leadership, the third-ranking Republican in the Senate. We have Senator John Thune of South Dakota here. Senator, good to see you.
Good afternoon, Trish.
So I'd like you to respond to Chuck Schumer there, who says you guys just don't know what to do. What do you say to that?
Well, I think they're a little sore about it. They've lost a lot of elections over Obamacare. But the fact of the matter is they know, everybody knows it's not working. Something has to be done. This has been a train wreck from the beginning, and the American people know it, which is why they came out in such big numbers in November. But if you look at the actual impact of Obamacare, Trish, you've got higher deductibles, higher co-pays, higher premiums, and fewer choices. And that's what Americans are facing today. And so Democrats acknowledge something has to be done. They don't want to vote to repeal it because they have a lot invested in passing it in the first place.
And they don't have to, right? Because you guys can repeal it on your own. So you're going to repeal it. How long then is it going to take to actually replace it with something? Because you run the risk, right? If you repeal it, you got people that may not have health insurance at all, and you don't want to be in that spot.
Right, and it took thousands of pages to pass it. It took thousands and thousands more of regulations to implement it, and it took a lot of time. And so obviously it's not going to happen overnight, but we're going to allow for a reasonable transition, a phase-in period, to make sure that people are not harmed. We want to repair the damage that's been done to families and businesses as a result of the passage of Obamacare. Starts with repealing it, and then we have to go in a step-by-step way and replace it with something that works a lot better.
Can you give me any kind of time frame at all? I mean, some people are saying 6 months, some people are saying 3 years. What's realistic here, Senator?
Well, I think sooner the better, but I think in terms of the way that this could get structured, it's still being debated, whether it's a year, 2 years, 3 years. But I think it's going to be a transition. Okay. I mean, we don't want anybody to be harmed by any of the changes that are made, but we know that changes have to be made because this is unsustainable in its current form.
Let me ask you, Donald Trump, in some ways, he says one thing and then he'll say something different. I say this only because he is the ultimate capitalist. However, he's making the point here on drug prices to Time magazine that he wants to bring them down. He says, and I quote, "I'm going to bring down drug prices. I don't like what's happened with drug prices." What do you anticipate from him on that front?
Well, there are a number of things you could do. I mean, getting the generics on the market more quickly. There's been a discussion over the years about allowing for the reimportation of pharmaceuticals from other countries in the world where they can be manufactured at a lower price. There are a lot of ways I think you can create more competition, but ultimately for any price to come down in any market, you need more competition. Mm-hmm. And so if we get more competition out there in the pharmaceutical market, you'll see that reflected in prices.
There you go, bingo, right. I hear you. That makes a lot of sense. And then while I have you here, your thoughts on who should be Secretary of State? We hear a lot of names these days.
There are a lot of names, and I don't at this point want to express a preference, but I know they're moving, it sounds like fairly quickly to get a nominee in place, and we'll look forward to processing them as expeditiously as possible when that happens.
All right. Well, Senator Thune, thank you so much. Good to see you here today.